Good Tuesday morning and or afternoon to everyone. Welcome back to the Kaiser Report, and I'm John, coming to you a little later today than usual because of I was out on the cutting machines. We have another beautiful day here in eastern Tennessee. The sun is out and shining, and the grass was drying up, so we needed to get the cutting done while we had the ability to do that. So we're coming to you with some late news, which was kind of good because we got a result on the closing arguments that happened, or getting ready for the closing arguments. That the defense for Donald Trump has rested in New York today, which means that he will not be going on the witness stand, which in my estimation is a good thing because he's a little bit difficult to control, and he could open himself up for giving them a reason to keep him there even longer or convict him, one or the other. Alan Dershowitz has ripped into NBC for making up a whole story about the New York versus Trump courtroom chat that went on. Again, fake news has reared its head, as it does daily on CNN and NBC and MSDNC. Anyway, the lawyers return to discuss jury instructions in New York versus Trump trial soon. We'll hear more and more about that. The Kamala Harris replacing Joe Biden strategy polls that are out there leave a lot to be desired. I don't understand how that could even benefit anyone at this particular point, given her past performances as the VP slot goes. And, well, politics is just going to take over, especially with this Trump trial stuff, and politics is just going to take the forefront from now until November, until we get a decision on what's going to happen, and we'll see if Biden even makes it to the November elections without being replaced, or worse yet, something happening. So we have that going for us. So it will be as if you're like me. Every time you look at your cell phone, there's 15 different messages from this politician or that politician asking, where have you been? Why haven't you been funding this or funding that? And so on and so on. And it's both parties that are up to this. And it's just unbelievable how many emails and text messages you can get from politicians. And then you wonder to yourself, how did they get my number? But they do, and a lot of this is driven by bots. And, when you get all these emails directly from Donald Trump, it's not Donald Trump sending it. And when you get the emails from Joe Biden, it's not Joe Biden sending it. And RFK Jr., it's not him sending it. These are setups to garner money to put in the coffers so they can run for election. And I think we need to have some changes when it comes to that. It's unbelievable. And then they have these PAC funds, and the PAC funds send out a lot of this nonsense to you all the time, trying to get you to commit to a vote or commit to giving money to an individual politician that's running. And it's like, I get from, I know who Steve Garvey is only because he played baseball, but I get 20 emails or messages a week from Steve Garvey asking me to support this, that, and the other thing. Well, where is he running? In California? Why am I getting it? And why should I support a race in California that is not going to benefit me in any way, shape, or form? So, we've got that going for us during this election season, and it's not going to be any fun at all right up until November. I can guarantee you that. So let's see if there's anything interesting going on. James Carville delivers a stark reality check to Biden over suffocating voter issues. James Carville is a piece of work. And if you remember back in the when Clintons were running for office, he was a piece of work then, and he's gotten worse over the years. But he's part of the overall problem. Israel, of course, is continuing on with their conflict with Hamas. Joe Biden, I guess, has not released any of the promises that they've made to Netanyahu, and now they want to file an arrest warrant for Netanyahu through the International Criminal Society, which is beyond me. I mean, we have a guy that is protecting his nation. He didn't provoke this war. Hamas did, and he has every right to protect his country and do it as he sees fit. It's not genocide, as these kids that are out protesting on a daily basis. Actually, they're not kids out of these universities. They're paid for disruptors that are sent out by organizations, probably backed by Hamas and backed by other terror groups. And it's a well-organized bunch of people that are doing these sit-ins and these protests, and they have garnered some university children, they're young adults, to join their cause and get involved in fashions that they should not be involved in this, because they do not understand the historical aspects of this entire region. And I urge anyone that is thinking about taking up the mantle for or carrying a flag for another nation that they know nothing about, that they take a history lesson real quick and figure out what they're saying and be correct in what you are shouting out. And to be shouting out in Farsi to death to America and river to the sea and all this other junk that these kids are out there carrying flags and wearing hijabs and things of that nature for a protest that really means nothing to any of the citizens of this country. But unfortunately, we have a lot of non-citizens now. We have up to 20 million non-citizens in the United States today that I will assure you that some of them are taking part in these protests. And it's a shame that we have to see this along with the incoming election cycles that we're going to be inundated with. But my theory on this is the flag behind me here is the only flag that should be flown in the United States of America. When you start to bring up the Palestinian flags and the rainbow flags and whatever other flags that they were holding behind the commencement address at Morehouse, I don't know what that flag was. I'm hoping that it was a university flag, but something tells me that it had more to do with the Congo or something else, where there are skirmishes taking place. And I'm sure that if there were students in there from these regions, they probably do have a right to have a say-so under the First Amendment. But flying a flag in this country and saying death to this country is not something that a young person or any person in this country should be doing against our nation that has been good to a lot of people around the world for many, many years. We have bailed people out of wars. When they have disasters, we're the first to show up. If something happens in this country, you don't see another country coming to our aid. but we give aid all over the world to people who actually hate America. But we do that because we're a Christian-founded nation, and under God, we trust that our good deeds for other people will be rewarded later on in life. And if you take that aspect and you live your life that way, you'll find great happiness in this life and in this country. We have an awful lot of good people in this country that are not doing things that are disruptive or adding to the chaos that's in the streets right now. The homeless situation is at an all-time high. The economy is not doing as well as they would like to tell you that it is doing. But if you go out and you shop for food and look at the food prices and look at the gasoline pump prices, you will quickly realize that the average Joe and Mary cannot support a family on a simple salary today. These things have to be brought back into control. Unfortunately, it is not going to happen overnight. We're going to see more and more of a recession and a depression looming if things continue in the fashion that they are right now. One of the things that has to change is we need to stop printing money, and we need to stop borrowing money to the tune of $1 trillion every 100 days that we have to borrow money to pay the interest on what we owe as a nation. Printing money will destroy our economy, and printing more money to send around the world to organizations like the Ukraine and Israel and Africa and places of that nature that are doing harm to not only the environment. If you have all these environmentalists that are telling you about climate change, this, that, and the other thing, the first thing they need to do is stop bombing things and making the climate worse. And we all know by now, any thinking person and of understanding and a monicum of education will quickly realize that this climate change is a money-making event for a few elite people that are making money from telling you that the climate is collapsing around us. Yes, we have weather changes, but we've always had weather changes. We've had an ice age years back, and we'll probably have another one before your children's lifetime are over, or close to it, if you think about it. And then you have to go back to basic science that you were taught as a very young person. The world rotates on its axis, and it wobbles from time to time, which causes some climate disruption and change. This is the simplistic outlook at things. And yes, we need to reduce the carbon footprint. We don't need to be adding to it. But you cannot change this overnight and say, all right, no more gasoline cars, park them, you have to have an EV car. And the EV batteries that power these cars and tractors and trucks that they're producing are raping the earth's and mineral deposits and causing climate disruption. It is more detrimental to build one of these EV car batteries than it is to pump gas out and put it into the vehicles you already have. Which brings me to the fact that it's well known and been talked about a lot, especially on this platform, about the price of used cars are going through the roof because people can't afford new cars. The new cars are not selling as well as they once hoped to. We looked at possibly replacing a Jeep Cherokee 2019 with a new one, And when you go and look at the prices of these things, they're $60,000 and $70,000. Well, today I get an email from the local dealer here wanting to sell us a new one, and they're willing to discount it $13,000. That's a huge discount. Why? Because they have inventory on their lots that are not selling. Number one, people do not have the cash to buy that. They're running up their credit cards to feed their family. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. Credit card defaults we're going to be facing very soon, and foreclosures, or another thing that's happening in the home market. So if someone needs a car because their clunker just died, they have to go look at the used car market because it's not affordable to most people to run out today at $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and buy a new car. Not to mention, if you do that, the interest rate now is not like it was 3.5 years ago. It's gone up appreciably, along with everything else that's rising in price in this country. The cost of food, they'll come out now, and most of the news programs will report that there is a 20% increase in foodstuffs. It's more like 30 to 35% if you take reality into the mix. Gasoline is rising. Of course, that happens because when you shut down all the pipelines and become dependent on buying oil from someone overseas, it's going to run the price of a barrel of oil up. And when the price on the oil goes up, the price at the gas pump goes up. That's just simple economics. And why do we pay more for food right now? It's directly related to the fact that the trucks that deliver these things are dependent on diesel fuel, which is at a rise one more time, and the truckers are having contracts already printed saying that they're locked into this price, but their fuel costs are rising, so they have to pass it on somehow to someone, someplace. And it usually is passed on to your pocket or my pocket, and we pay for what's going on. Major cities are suffering from petty theft in these stores, especially grocery stores and places like the dollar stores, with now the $8 stores, are getting hit with shoplifting regularly now. It's a tremendous amount of money that has to be recouped somehow because the store owners can't absorb this. It's almost unbelievable. And you see it. If you tune in to any of the news networks, they'll show you these people that go in and they'll literally steal a backpack and then walk around the store putting what they want in the backpack and then leave. It used to be we had policemen that would stop that, but they're not doing or allowed to do their job anymore. The recruitment for police in mostly all of the major cities are suffering the same thing. Our military is suffering right now with recruitment. They can't find the people to fill the spots that are needed for our protection. The criminals are being emptied out of jails in other countries and sent through our borders, and in some cases flown here by our government and dispensed into whatever cities that they feel that they need to be in or they're told to be in, which is a little frightening on its own. But these things are taking place in and around us all the time now. So they want to take away your guns. They want to take away your self-protection. They want to take away most of your rights, but all the criminals will still have their guns, and they still will force you to have to protect yourself and your family, and you need to have a way to do it. Whether it's lethal or non-lethal, you cannot take a risk when it comes to protecting your family and your home and your automobile, in your purse or your wallet, walking down the street when they stick a gun in your face. It's happening out there. And the lawlessness that's taking place in our major cities in this country and most of around the world, Australia is seeing it. The UK is seeing it. For God's sake, France has been suffering with their immigrant problem as well as Germany. And we're allowing thousands every day to continue to come through the border. And we have a Secretary of Homeland Security that does nothing about it. That has to be questioned. They had him at the hearings and asked the questions and got no answers from him other than, well, let me explain what we have done. Well, they have done plenty. They let almost 20,000 or more people into this country, unvetted, unvaccinated, bringing disease, bringing crime. And yes, there are probably some good people that came in with it and paid money to the cartels to get them in there. But they've also brought in a ton of drugs which are killing our young citizens with fentanyl. And now they're even the pot, they say now, is laced with all kinds of things that are harmful or will cause some sort of psychosis if you take too much or kill you. Where is our legal system inside this country to stop this? It has been defunded and pushed aside. And they use the flag and the statues of George Floyd as an excuse to do this. The major cities in this country that used to be a great place to go and vacation and visit and see the sights has become somewhat dangerous now to do that in. We need to get back to quieting our minds, staying away from bad foods, processed foods, be prepared for the worst, and pray for the best. And we will make it in this country with God's help and all of your help in realizing what's going on and voicing your opinion to your elected officials that are not doing the job you sent them there to do. And if that is the case in whatever state or city you live in, then we need to replace those seats with people of like mind that will do the job you send them there to do, which is to serve the citizenry of this country, not another country. And as I said in the past, if they're walking around with a lapel pin that has someone else's flag on it, such as the Ukraine lapel pin that you see some of these congressmen walking around with and senators, and that includes you, Chuckles Schumer, then don't re-elect them because they're obviously worried about serving someone else's country. It's almost disgusting when you think about it. With the squad alone, with this pro-Palestinian push that they're on about. And they worry more about the borders of the Ukraine and about Gaza and everything else other than our own borders here and our own welfare here that they were elected to protect. That's criminal in its own right. So we have to think and we have to make good decisions come November on all of the ballots, whether it's presidential, whether it's senatorial, whether it's congressional. We need to replace the people that have brought us harm and put us in harm's way. We don't want to end up in another world war, which is right now looming. China's coalition with Russia is something to worry about. North Korea, with what they have on hand, is something to worry about. The stuff that's going on in Africa right now is being driven by China. No one wants to tell you that on the daily news, but it's happening. China is buying up our farmland and buying real estate here hand over fist. Go to China and try to buy a house or anything else there. You're prohibitive from doing that. But yet we let them buy up our farmlands here and fool with our food supplies. And your Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation are directly involved with that movement because he wants to produce fake food and control you. And that's what the World Economic Forum is doing, as well as the WHO. In the next pandemic that they throw at us will be an opportunity for the second run of control of not only your minds, but how you live your life and how your children will be educated. Enough of that today. But like I said, we have another beautiful day here in East Tennessee, and I hope you all are enjoying some good weather. I just read that the midsection of the country in Missouri on up to Wisconsin are suffering some severe weather with heavy winds and possible tornado warnings. God bless those people. I hope that they stay safe, and let's hope that it's just a threat and not going to do much damage, because the damage that have been done in the last couple of weeks throughout the nation, and the heat wave in Houston, there's a lot of people out there suffering. Please say a prayer for them. And if you're close by and you know of somebody that is going through a rough time, see what you can do to help. And I think if we all took that method of thinking to where we could help someone a little less fortunate than us, we should do this. We should get back to brotherly love and get back to a point where we stop dividing each other, whether it's by race or class or whatever you divide yourself with or harbor hate in your heart for, needs to stop. Harboring hate for any specific thing inside your mind and in your heart will sicken you to a point where you're not going to be happy. Do something for somebody for a change and see how that feels, because that will bring you happiness and that will bring you peace of mind. And that's what we have to go forward with. And there's a lot of nonsense going on. Look at the commencement speech that was done at a Catholic university by that football player that's a kicker, I guess. they're still on about that because he gave somebody a choice of being a mom and a stay-home person. And, oh, my God, you would think that somebody, lit a cathedral on fire. It's unbelievable at what triggers people today. So don't be a trigger, be a help. And get off of criticizing other people. Most people on a every day try to do the best that they can, and some people don't make up the measure to it, but at least if they try, that's a good thing. So at the Kaiser Report here, we're going to try to be more positive as the days go by. We're going to try to bring a little less politics to it, and we're going to try to do more tours of the region here, like we did in Asheville, and get you some more things out there. And let me just take a word to mention our sponsor, and we'll run their ad at the end of this video. So please stay tuned after we're done here, and we'll let you see the ad for Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop. And I'm not going to say too much more about it, but it's the best that you can buy. And you'll see the ad. So please give them a call. Tell them Kaiser sent you, and God bless you all. And we're going to probably start to work our way out of here, and I'll probably go back on the mowers again today, but God bless you. We love you here at the Kaiser Report. Please take a second and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you very much. And like this video and share it. So with that, I'm going to say bye-bye now, and we're going to get out of here. Bye-bye.
Lazy J Farms has been raising the finest cattle and all-natural pork for 3 generations on the family farm in Fall Branch. Their blonde Aquitaine herd offers a leaner, healthier, and more tasteful beef. And the butcher shop is local, farm to table, and 100% authentic. This is the way your grandfather shopped for me, with steaks cut to order, quality assured, and ready to ship to your door. Open Thursday through Saturday on Bloomingdale Road in Kingsport. Come see us.